Sup y'all, it's AngeloTangelo. Welcome back to The Sims 2. Y'all really gave a lot of love to my last Sims challenge video, so here's another. I call this the No Fridge Family Challenge. Zach actually recommended the idea to me, so let's see if we can do this. The rules are simple. We must have an adult couple, and at least one child. Obviously you cannot purchase a fridge anytime during this challenge. No money, motive, aspiration, or career cheats are allowed. We must last through all 4 default in-game seasons without losing any Sims to death or the social worker. So let's jump in. This is the food family. We have $27,000 to start with by default. We're going to enter a house I semi-modified for this challenge. Before we get started, let's meet the family. The father of the family is Can We Has Food, his wife and mother of his child, I Need a Food, and of course their daughter, I Want a Food. I want food. Oh god, this was a mistake. In classic Mr. Big Shot fashion, I started digging for treasure when I realized we didn't need a stove either. Without a fridge, we wouldn't be doing any cooking. More money for the family. We're starting off with 1 day left in summer, which is odd, so we need to make a full circle back around to complete the challenge. I got Can We Has a job in intelligence so he could provide for his family in other ways. And even though we just moved in, apparently we were the most hated family on the block. According to some visitors. After selling a bone and a rock, we had about $3,500. Then a surprise visit from Mr. Big Shot. He must have given me his bad luck by stopping by. And of course, he would be thinking about money. I purchased a couple of beds for the family so we wouldn't have to sleep on the floor when we passed out. But we didn't have much for entertainment afterwards, so I bought them a poster they could all look at and enjoy. $300 left. And a want achieved. Using lifetime aspiration benefit points, I slowed the family's motive decay down, and I also wasted a point on Grandma's comfort soup, not thinking about the fact that we had no way to make it. Oh well. I ordered a pizza so Iwanda and Inita would be fed while Can We Has could be fed at work. Which, speaking of, here, go get fed. Just as the pizza arrived, so did our child, home from school. To bring up her fun, I was sure to engulf her with quality art. Then Can We Has returned from work and joined in on the family meal. Iwanda was outside playing ball with Mr. Big Shot, while we spent our time indoors. I guess living alone has really left him longing for a family. Sad. I bought some garden soil to put in the back for tomatoes so we could have a sustainable food source. Hopefully this time goes better than my last challenge's attempt at gardening. Even though our bills were relatively cheap, we didn't have the means to pay them. So I dug, and I had forgotten I had Mr. Humble's computer, so I sold that and had enough for bills, and then some. While the rest of the family was busy, it was time for Inita to eat, so I had her walk to the mall and grill hot dogs at the food court. Was this legal? It didn't matter. Food. Inita was in the yard making some extra cash when Iwanda got home and was in need of entertainment to finish her homework. And then Can We Has got home too. Later that night, in the front yard, Iwanda took up jump rope. Her interest in fitness would then continue to climb. I then used her aspiration rewards to get a money tree for the family, which she was excited for. Our first cash harvest scored us $40. Inita was tending to the garden to ensure healthy crops for the family. Later on, Papa was off to work, to eat, so that just left Inita. I then decided it was time for a car, and the Smugo Minima was the best we could afford. Off to the mall for hot dogs. I ate alone and then rushed home to rest. When I arrived, Mr. Big Shot was calling for Can We Has, which was at work. After another harvest, Iwanda scored $150 at school. So as a reward, I made sure to read to her. In the bathroom, for some reason. And then she took up gardening too. Look at her helping the family. After gaining a logic skill point from the crossword puzzles, I decided to get Inita a job. The schedule needed to run so Iwanda wouldn't be alone at home. But I think I had the at-home times and the at-job times mixed up, so I took the damn job. Can We Has was off to work, and all the treasure hunting had made Inita hungry. It was 11 a.m., and she didn't start work until 3. So I gave her multiple glasses of water from the bathroom sink to sustain her hunger until work began. The time was now. Inita went off to work, and Iwanda arrived not seconds after. I checked their schedules, and then I realized my errors.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Iwanda got off the bus and started inside the house. In a panic, I desperately searched for options to correct my mistakes. I rushed her over to the phone to call for a nanny. Apparently a child can call for themselves. The supervision warning came in, but the nanny was quicker and saved the day. Less than an hour later, Kanwehas came home, and everything would have been fine. And he was promoted to private eye. I thanked the nanny and she left. Kanwehas was tending to the garden, making sure we had healthy plants. And as soon as Anita got home from work, I immediately had her call in to quit her job. Friday morning came and Iwanda was hungry, but the bus was nearing. I then made sure that Anita would be home for Iwanda while picking her next job. I was careful this time. And on her first day, I got a pop quiz, which I guessed on incorrectly, and lost a day's worth of pay, and she'd just started the damn job. But it was all okay, because she got promoted and got a bonus that day. Mr. Big Shot calling for our child.
No!
Anita tended to the garden while Kanwehas tended to the yard. Lucky for him, he found treasure. Saturday morning came and the family needed to be fed, so we all went to the mall again to feast. If this was the idea of a family dinner, it was strange. But it was our thing, you know? Sunday afternoon struck with hunger, so I ordered Chinese food for the family. Look at that, an actual family dinner, sort of. And soon Iwanda would have a birthday. Then Anita left for work. The tomatoes in the garden were finally ready to harvest, so we picked them all. We now had 50 tomatoes, but we couldn't eat them by themselves. I sold my forgotten treasures and invested in some fruit trees. Maybe the apple trees could provide edible fruit, but they were dormant for the winter. Anita was planting new crops for the next season, and Iwanda was busy growing into a teenager. She then finished her grade school homework and got food poisoning from eating spoiled Chinese food. I decided to get Iwanda a part-time job in journalism. It seemed about right for her. A little extra cash to cover our bills. I tried to have Iwanda use the toilet, but her parents decided to make out in there, so she had to wait until they were done. Then Anita went off to work. They all had responsibilities now. This part of the challenge began to get very repetitive and boring, so I had Anita and Kanwehas quit their jobs. Iwanda was the provider now. She called in a pizza for her parents while she would go off to school to eat. Think of it as a thank you to the parents for raising her. It wasn't until quitting their jobs that Anita started worrying and her aspiration meter began to drop. Friday came and it was time to eat again. We had burgers at the mall. Oh my God, don't stare directly at it. No. Anita sobbed as her aspiration meter continued dropping. Iwanda was harvesting more tomatoes from the garden and selling all the excess. Weekend hunger struck. The family started suspecting something was wrong with Anita as she decided to sit alone, away from the family while they ate at the food court. I tried making her feel better by buying nicer beds for everyone so they could be more comfortable in this fridgeless household. I also prettied up their lights so that their environment could raise up and hopefully put them in a better mood. But that wasn't the solution. Anita cried again for her neglected family aspiration level. I tried helping her by serenading her in the bathroom. You know, romance. After the next harvest of tomatoes, I decided to buy a juicer in hopes of restoring our hunger organically. I added a bunch of them to the juicer and made myself a nice V8. After some gardening experience, we now had the option to plant strawberries and cucumbers. I planted 5 strawberry plants. As for the rest of the tomatoes, I had to place them in Kanwehas and Anita's inventory so they could make juice while Iwanda was at school and work. Iwanda had provided enough tomatoes to juice for everyone. I continued with the juicing until everyone's hunger was up once again. But eventually, we ran out of produce and had to revert to ordering in again. Another family dinner of Chinese food. In an effort to raise Anita's aspiration meter, I made her hunt for bugs to fulfill a want. In the meantime, it seems that the Chinese food has made the whole family fat. It was time to work out. A workout for everyone. It seemed to have worked for Anita. And also Iwanda. Then it was time to harvest some apples. Unfortunately, they couldn't be eaten directly, and there wasn't enough juice to go around for the whole family. So we went back to the food court at the mall for some burgers again. What the hell is that? Bruh. Okay. I finally bought them a TV and ditched the old poster. Hungry again. I really hope the pizza doesn't make us fat this time. Then vermin. This certainly wouldn't help Anita's aspiration meter. Then she got sick with the flu by having roaches. At this point, it seemed like the whole house was in ruins, but that didn't stop our strawberries from growing, and it didn't stop us from harvesting them for juice either. This time, there was enough for everybody. It's official, we made it to the end of the challenge without a fridge, but there was one last thing to take care of before we say goodbye. In being the provider for the family, I made sure we celebrated Iwanda's birthday right. The family gathered around the birthday cake and was excited for her new life chapter. You're really not supposed to tell people your wishes or they won't come true, but I'm sure it was for a refrigerator. The parents both cheered as Iwanda grew into an adult, but unfortunately her not growing up well had brought depression to all their aspiration meters. But hey, she got promoted, and also what is she wearing?
What is that?
Canwehas and Iwanda went crazy from the aging results, but Anita was still standing. It was ironic seeing that she was the first one to show signs of unhappiness. But in the end, she was the happiest of the three. And so ends our journey with the food family. Thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed. Shout out to everything that I love, and that includes you. On next week's show, I'll explain to you why babies under 3 shouldn't eat steak. Until then, take it easy.